There are many women's shelters in Northwest Arkansas that support victims of domestic violence.
Usually first contact is through our hotline. People reach out to us. Usually over a phone call. We do have the ability to email and stuff with people who don't have access to phones. But that's kind of where we assess people, figure out what the situation is. Are they experiencing domestic violence, or have they recently and they're escaping from that? And then what kind of supports do they need? When people come in, we offer up to 30 days of safe shelter. And then during that time, we assign that person what we call a primary advocate. So it's their case manager, their main person that they can go to work on goals and get the connections that they need. You hear back later from clients of how meaningful it was to get the support that they had while they were with us. And people in crisis and trauma, they're just trying to survive at that point. Most of the time when people come into our shelter, they're in survival mode, and it is really difficult. And so we get to play a small part of their journey into moving out of survival mode to where they can start thriving again. And then when they reach back out, you're like, okay, this is why we do that. Domestic violence is an issue, and 1 in 3 Americans, or at least 1 in 3 Arkansans, will experience it at some point in their lives. And let's change that.
Over all of our programs, we're working with over 1,000 people each year in our community, providing services to help them escape violent situations that they want to get out of, and help them find safety and security long term. People bring items to donate to the store, and they're set up in the store. If someone from the community comes and shops at that store, they pay for the items, and then 100% of that money goes back to support our program. But it's also preferable to, say, keeping a lot of clothes of different sizes in stock at our shelter or kind of on site, because it's much less empowering for us to say, here's what we have in your size, here's your clothes, than to say, oh, you need clothes? Okay, here's a voucher. You can go to the store and shop and pick out what you like and get it, and that'll be that. When I was a kid, my mother left a very dangerous and violent relationship, and so I kind of saw that from a child's perspective. And when I became an adult, I was attracted to maybe doing some work in social services, in organizations that help families, and being the person who's more likely to engage with community members. It is a very regular occurrence. It actually happened to me last night at an event I was at, where someone will come up to me and say, I'm so grateful for the work you do. You helped me 5 years ago, or you helped me 10 years ago, or you helped my mom and we stayed in the shelter 20 years ago. Because we've been a part of the community, even though not everyone necessarily knows that we're here and we have been here for that long, there are thousands upon thousands of lives that have been impacted by this organization.